Dala dongwa jebe dra nobar jebe ge tarpa dan tam je gembe bardu chopra jeba tham che ge se jebe ma nanga dang nyampe sen chen tam je dewa dan den dunga dan de ne de la na me pa yang da pra so be chan chu rim pu je to pra ja dala dongwa jebe dra nobar jebe ge tarpa dan tam je gembe bardu chopra jeba tham je ge se jebe ma nang ka dang nyambe sen chen tam je dewa dan den dunga dan de ne de la na me pa yang Tabara sobe janju rinpo che dobra ja dala dangwa jebe dra nobar jebe ge tarpa tham tam je gember varidu chopra jeba tham je ge se jebe ma nang ka dang nyampe sen chen tam je dewa dhan den thungya dang de ne de la na me pa ya Dabara sobe janju rinpo je dobra ja de je de sama ge ge bardu longa yisum ge wala ku Mashi bardu longa yisum ge wala ku de dereng ne son de ne ma san ta sam ge bardu longa yisum ge wala ku song ge chodan so ge chonam la chanchu bardu dane kyamsu je Dage jinso gebe sonam ge drola penche sangye drupra sho sangye chodang soge chonam la chanchu bardu dani kyapsu je dage jinso gebe sonam ge drola penche sangye drupra sho sangye chodang soge chonam la chanchu bardu dani kyapsu je dage jinso gebe sonam ge Drola penche sangye dubra sho manang kadang nyampe senjen tamje dewa dang dewe gyundan dempra gyurje tungyao dang dungyao ye gyudan drawa gyurje dungyao mepe dewa dang me dewa gyurje Nering chada nidan drewe danyon lana pra gyurje manang kada nyampe senjen tamje dewa dang dewe kindan tempura gyurje dungyao dang dungyao gi gyudan drewa gyurje dungyao mepe dewa dang me dewa gyurje Nering chada nidan drewe danyon lana pra gyurje manang kada nyampe senjen tamje dewa dang dewe gyundan tempura gyurje dungyao dang dungyao gi gyudan drewa gyurje dungyao mepe dewa dang me dewa gyurje nering chada nidan drewe danyon lana pra gyurje. Now page 7. Bhadra samaja, bhadra samaja, bhadra samaja. Malu semchen gungi gongyur jing dude punche mitze zumze la. Ngona malu jishin gengyur pe chumden koje ne dir sheshu so. Argyam padyam pushpe dupe aloke gende nevede shabda pradeja so sashi buju jushin medodram Rira lingshe ninde genpadi sanje shingla mingte pulwaye Joko namda shingdu chopara sho jase wadang chojing shampada Jise yirang kushin sowa yenge wa chungse dage chisakpa Tamche sobe chanchu jirngo Now turn to the Mahamudra manual. Again, focusing on the preliminary of mandala offering. starting on page 9 in the instructions for mandala offering. Especially important is in the bottom part where it says, wipe it clean, wipe your mandala clean, so that they are free from stains, blemishes, and so forth. And then think that as the mandala is free from dust, think that the karmic, emotive, and cognitive obscurations of all sentient beings are cleared. More specifically, how should we think about how the karmic, emotive, and cognitive obscurations of sentient beings are cleared? Think of them as being cleared through the clearing of your own karmic, emotive, and cognitive obscurations. You are the connecting point. You are the connecting point because of two main kind of reasons. One main reason is because you are connected literally to all mother sentient beings, because sentient beings, all sentient beings have at one point or another been our mother. Because if we understand, that when Buddha says that we have infinite past lifetimes, he means that, we have infinite past lifetimes. So in the infinity of past lifetimes, we have all been mothers to each other. So that's the other point, to say that, sentient beings are like mothers to us. Likewise, we have been like mothers to other sentient beings. So throughout all of these infinite past lifetimes, we have been mothers to each other. So at one point or another, we have been very closely connected. So then in that way, because of the interdependence of that, because of that interdependence of having been mothers to each other, so that is the connecting point. It makes it, you can say, personal in that sense. So that when we say, may the karmic, emotive, and cognitive obscurations of mother sentient beings be cleared on the basis of me clearing my karmic, emotive, and cognitive obscurations, then it's not just some random wishful thinking, because we have this kind of deep connection with all sentient beings. So this is the reason on the relative side of things. Then there is another reason on the ultimate side of things. On the ultimate side of things, we all have the same Buddha nature. We all have the same Buddha nature. And having the same Buddha nature means we have one same nature. So what we do on this level to ourselves, in a way you could say, right? It also has an impact on others. So on the essence nature level, we are connected with Buddha nature. On the relative level, we are connected as well. And so with that understanding, when we clean the mandala plate with Om Metta Sattva Samaya Manupalaya, we think about using the 4 powers, the clean, the clear, our karmic, emotive, and cognitive stains, obscurations, which is what obscurations can also be translated as, stains. As we're thinking that, we think, may the karmic, emotive, and cognitive obscurations of all sentient beings be cleared, be cleansed, be removed in the same way. So this is how we should understand this part So again, if you have two mandala plates, then the first one can be used to establish the field of accomplishments, the field of accumulations. So first, put some grains on your left palm, then hold the mandala plate, and then for the cleaning of the surface, sprinkle or drip some saffron water, and pick up some grains with your right hand. Om Bhadra Sato Samayam Balayam Om Bhadra Sato Samayam Anuradam Bimbo Sabati So Om Bhadra Bhumi Ahong, right, on page 10. In the center, place one pile, one heap, and imagine that upon an excellently arranged seat sits the Guru in the form of Vajradhara, embodiment of all the Buddhas. So all the root and lineage lamas is on this first pile, this first heap here. Second, in front, what's called the eastern direction in front, a second pile, which is all the Idam deities. Third, all the Buddhas of past, present, and future that have appeared in the world, are currently in the different worlds, and will appear in the future. Third, or rather fourth heap, the Dharma, especially the perfection of wisdom Dharma. And finally, the noble Sangha, the great Bodhisattvas, those who appear in the form of Shravakas, but who are in essence great Bodhisattvas. And if you want, you can add more to the first pile, make it a little higher than the others. And in this way, we have established, we have constructed, we have cultivated the field of accumulations. You can put this in front of you. If you are close enough to the shrine, you place it on the shrine that you are facing while you do this practice. The rice that you do when you moisten, really, it should not be wet. It's moist. Moist and it's just sticky enough, but it should not be wet so that you have liquid that you have to deal with. The rice, will give up its own, white, this white rice. And that's the stickiness that keeps the grains together. For second, the offering mandala. So now again, be sure you have some grains on the left side, your left hand. And then look for this wheel, if you can see it, on your mandala plate. And again, you put some saffron water onto the surface of this mandala. Pick up some grains. So again, Om Vajra Bhumi Ahung, remembering what that mantra is referring to. Then the first heap is, as an offering, the very first heap is the heap of Mount Meru, the cosmic mountain. The inner aspect of this is that this is then our main body with our head as well. The trunk of our body with our head. That's the inner way, the inner offering of this. Then the ultimate is, this is the trunk of bodhicitta. The four continents are the four limbs. So the first, then in front is the eastern continent. Then the southern continent. Western continent, Aparagodaniya. And northern continent, Uttarakuru. Sun and moon. So the four continents are your four limbs, 2 hands, 2 legs. Sun and moon is the 2 eyes. Then on the ultimate level, 4 continents are the 4 immeasurables. That's what you offer. You offer the 4 immeasurable minds. And the sun and moon is the 2 accumulations, which leads to the 2 perfections, the 2 accumulations of merit and the accumulation of wisdom that leads to the 2 perfections, the 2 accomplishments of wisdom and compassion. So now turn this mandala. You could then add a little bit more to represent all the other offerings. If it is too much for your hands to hold this whole time, you can also place this down in front of you. But then to prevent a big mess, you should have a bigger plate in front of you. Put this on it, and then as you do the many recitations, you add onto this. But if you don't have that space in front, then hold it in your hands. Take some extra grains with your right hand, and then hold both. And now do the offering. This ground sprinkled with scented waters and strewn with flowers, adorned with the supreme mountain, 4 continents, sun and moon, I hold in mind as a Buddha land, and offer it. May all wandering beings experience such a pure land. To all you sublime gurus, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue. As an offering, please accept them. To you, idam deities, to you, noble three jewels, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue. As an offering, please accept them, O gurus, idams, and noble three jewels. I pray that you generate supreme realization within me. This ground sprinkled with scented waters and strewn with flowers, adorned with the supreme mountain, four continents, sun and moon, I hold in mind as a Buddha land, and offer it. May all wandering beings experience such a pure land. To you, sublime gurus, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. To you, idam deities, and you, noble three jewels, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them, O gurus, idams, and noble three jewels. I pray that you generate supreme realization within me. This ground sprinkled with scented waters and strewn with flowers, adorned with the supreme mountain, four continents, sun and moon, I hold in mind as a Buddha land, and offer it. May all wandering beings experience such a pure land. To you, sublime gurus, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. To you, idam deities, and you, noble three jewels, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. O gurus, idams, and noble three jewels, I pray that you generate supreme realization within me. This ground sprinkled with scented waters and strewn with flowers, adorned with the supreme mountain, four continents, sun and moon, I hold in mind as a Buddha land, and offer it. May all wandering beings experience such a pure land. To you, sublime gurus, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. To you, idam deities, and you, noble three jewels, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. O gurus, idams, and noble three jewels, I pray that you generate supreme realization within me. This ground sprinkled with scented waters and strewn with flowers, adorned with the supreme mountain, four continents, sun and moon, I hold in mind as a Buddha land, and offer it. May all wandering beings experience such a pure land. To you, sublime gurus, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. To you, idam deities, and you, noble three jewels, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. O gurus, idams, and noble three jewels, I pray that you generate supreme realization within me. This ground sprinkled with scented waters and strewn with flowers, adorned with the supreme mountain, four continents, sun and moon, I hold in mind as a Buddha land, and offer it. May all wandering beings experience such a pure land. To you, sublime gurus, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. To you, idam deities, and you, noble three jewels, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. O gurus, idams, and noble three jewels, I pray that you generate supreme realization within me. This ground sprinkled with scented waters and strewn with flowers, adorned with the supreme mountain, four continents, sun and moon, I hold in mind as a Buddha land, and offer it. May all wandering beings experience such a pure land. To you, sublime gurus, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them to you, idam deities, and you, noble three jewels. I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. O Gurus, idams, and noble three jewels, I pray that you generate supreme realization within me. This ground sprinkled with scented waters and strewn with flowers, adorned with the supreme mountain, fog, continent, sun, and moon, I hold in mind as a Buddha land, and offer it. May all wandering beings experience such a pure land. To all you sublime Gurus, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue. As an offering, please accept them to you, idam deities, and you, noble three jewels. I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. O Gurus, idams, and noble three jewels, I pray that you generate supreme realization within me. This ground sprinkled with scented waters and strewn with flowers, adorned with the supreme mountain, fog, continent, sun, and moon, I hold in mind as a Buddha land, and offer it. May all wandering beings experience such a pure land. To you, sublime Gurus, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them to you, idam deities, and you, noble three jewels. I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. O Gurus, idams, and noble three jewels, I pray that you generate supreme realization within me. This ground sprinkled with scented waters and strewn with flowers, adorned with the supreme mountain, fog, continent, sun, and moon, I hold in mind as a Buddha land, and offer it. May all wandering beings experience such a pure land. To you, sublime Gurus, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them to you, idam deities, and you, noble three jewels. I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them, O Gurus, idams, and noble three jewels. I pray that you generate supreme realization within me. This ground sprinkled with scented waters and strewn with flowers, adorned with the supreme mountain, fog, continent, sun, and moon, I hold in mind as a Buddha land, and offer it. May all wandering beings experience such a pure land. To you, sublime Gurus, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them to you, idam deities, and you, noble three jewels. I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. O Gurus, idams, and noble three jewels, I pray that you generate supreme realization within me. This ground sprinkled with scented waters and strewn with flowers, adorned with the supreme mountain, fog, continent, sun, and moon, I hold in mind as a Buddha land, and offer it. May all wandering beings experience such a pure land. To you, sublime Gurus, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them to you, idam deities, and you, noble three jewels. I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them, O Gurus, idams, and noble three jewels. I pray that you generate supreme realization within me. And then now, receive the merit and the blessings from this offering. Feel all the wealth, richness, the medicines, vitalities, all that dissolving into you, dissolving into all sentient beings. Then the mandala of accumulations, the mandala of accomplishment. Now the objects of offering, Guru, Idam, Three Jewels, Dharmapalas, they dissolve into you. You become inseparable with them. Then rest the mind, rest your attention in the inseparability of the objects of refuge and yourself, and the inseparability of appearance and emptiness. So this is part of the preliminaries. But as Kyopo Rinpoche emphasizes again and again, the preliminaries are not to be treated as just things to get out of the way so that you can get to the main practice. The preliminary and the subsequent, so these are the two other parts. They are there together with the main practice. So there's the preliminaries, there is a subsequent. Subsequent is, of course, referring to dedication. So in the context of the Fivefold Mahamudra, preliminaries, specifically, if we were to divide the 5 parts of the Fivefold, then the preliminary is the preliminary of bodhicitta. This preliminary of bodhicitta, followed by the main practice, which consists of the creation and the completion stages. Then here in the context of Fivefold Mahamudra, the creation stage has 2 parts, the idam part and the guru devotion part. Then the completion stage is the completion stage without characteristics, which is the fourth part of the Fivefold Mahamudra. And then the subsequent practice is the practice of dedication. So together they are then the Fivefold Mahamudra, which can be divided into the preliminary of bodhicitta, the main practice of the creation and completion stages, and the subsequent practice, the subsequent dedication. Then, as preliminary to all of this, are these two preliminaries of Vajrasattva and mandala offering. And then preliminary to that are the four thoughts that turn the mind. Preliminary to that is knowing how to place your body and mind, how to situate both your body and your mind, giving your body and mind the most optimal posture, so to say, in order to then proceed to the various stages of practice. Elsewhere, Kyoba Rinpoche does say that there are some very rare individuals who do not rely on engaging the path through these stages, that they do it in a more, what we could say, instantaneous way. But this instantaneous way, takes a lot of effort, a lot of forcing. So this instantaneous is not an easy instantaneous, which is what maybe some of us may think instantaneous. Oh, that's the easy one. No. So in one teaching of Gilbert Rinpoche, where he was talking about, maybe we'll look at that, because it's related to the issue of developing devotion. Developing devotion. And so in his in this one place where he talks about this, he says, then specifically he says, there are two types of practitioners: those who engage by stages and those who engage instantaneously. And he said, in this case, he says, with regards to devotion to the Guru, he said, I did it the instantaneous way. Meaning, he said, I didn't slowly build up my devotion to my Guru, Mahamudra. He says, in fact, I force myself, he says, I force myself to always see him as a Buddha. Of course, and I would say Gilbert Rinpoche is very fortunate because he met someone like Mahamudra. If you have someone like Mahamudra, absolutely, I would say, yes, it's absolutely safe to force yourself to always see your Guru as Buddha, no question. But not so easy when you don't have a Mahamudra. I may even say, based on reading about their style and the way they are, if you have someone like Marpa, I think most of us won't be able to force ourselves. Even though, so I'm not even talking about, the fact that these are authentic teachers. Even authentic teachers, they have different styles, I think for Marpa, who is kind of tough, and a little rough, a little kind of temperamental, I think for most of us also, we don't have enough. We may force ourselves once or twice, but then when he's really kind of disagreeable to our sense, of how a teacher should be, I think we will lose faith and we will run away. But Mahamudra, by all accounts, was a different style. I think he fits very well our way of thinking about, that's a real practitioner, realized master, He lived in a hut, you know. He didn't live, a layperson's life like Marpa, He lived in a hut. He ate very frugal. His robes, very simple. And then he's surrounded by all these famous, actually. It said that there are 500 disciples who themselves are masters. These are called disciples with parasols. That means people are holding umbrella to shield them from the hot sun. So this is a particular rank, a particular way of saying these are masters in their own right, but they are all gathered at Mahamudrupa's hut to train with Mahamudrupa. So if you meet someone like that, I think it's it's very easy, easier, But Kyobaren Rinpoche also says, in his biography, he said, I'm a very proud person. Yeah? So that's the part where he had to force. He said, I'm a very proud person, so kind of judgmental also. When he arrived, he heard so much about how great this community is, he said. But then when he arrived and he saw, all the 500 masters in their own right type of disciples, he felt like, oh, really? That's it? I'm a more serious practitioner, he said. These, just people talk, he says. They're not that impressive. And then he proceeded to find fault with them in his mind. Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that one. Oh, look at that one. And at that time, he wasn't a monk yet. He was a lay person. And so then in that community, they of course also say, hey, you sit back there. Don't come up here. Who are you? So then that made him even more proud. It's like, look at these people. They wear their robes, I'm more monk than they are. And things like, like I'm a, So he had that problem, And he even began to wonder, like, so maybe Mahamudrupa is also just kind of, what people's just exaggeration, And then he met Mahamudrupa. Then he knew on some level, right? No, this is the real thing. Then he suppressed his pride. That's the part, I think, where he means, I forced myself to view him as a Buddha until I finally kind of genuinely saw that he was a Buddha. Yes? I saw that he was a Buddha. So that's the instantaneous, he calls that. He says, but most of us, he says, most of you, you should take the growing by stages. And he says, so a little bit. Don't try to go too far, because you may, as I say, tear a muscle and never want to go back to the gym again. So don't try to do the instantaneous way. Be more reasonable. So this is where there are also teachings to say, you examine someone for 12 years. And this advice is actually given to both those who are functioning as teachers and those who are functioning as students, that you mutually examine each other for 12 years. Because in the process of examining, it's not just whether disciples are qualified and teachers are qualified. It's not just that. Beyond that, is there karmic connection? Is there enough karmic connection? Sometimes teacher is qualified, student is qualified, but not enough karmic connection, or what we may say, chemistry. And there are many stories like this, like a qualified disciple comes to see a qualified teacher, and because the teacher is really has real bodhicitta, the teacher is able to say to the students, not I'm not that person for you. You need to go find someone else, or even specifically that person. Go, because that's where your connection is. So this is genuine bodhicitta. Teachers with less ability might go, oh, yes, 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 I will accept you, and kind of collecting students. The more, the merrier. But, so in this entering in stages, growing in stages, which Khyaba Rinpoche recommends, he says, it's better. And you can develop there, he says. And even in the growing in stages, developing in stages, he still says, sometimes you have to force yourself a little bit and say, no, this is partly why there are gurus who are human gurus that I'm working with, because I am going to use them in a way. I'm going to use them as part of that process of growth that I have to go through. Which means, right, in that regard, you don't need to waste so much time dwelling on, are they or are they not? Are they or are they not? Because they are part of the tool for you to grow. Now, sometimes that kind of thinking can also lead to teachers making excuses and say, well, I'm just here, as a tool. So whether I am or I am not, you don't worry. You just treat me as a tool. But then sometimes that can become an excuse for the teacher to just don't do what they say. Don't do what they teach. And say to students, oh, don't follow my example. That also doesn't work. Khyaba Rinpoche says, just like if you're trying to make a tata, right, a clay statue with mold. It says, if the mold don't have the right design, right? Or first, if the mold has no design at all, and you're thinking, oh, I want to make a forearm chinrezi, you put your clay, come out. Of course, there's no design, Then you look, oh, this has design. Oh, yes, I want to make a forearm Chenrezi, Buddha of Compassion. And knock out, it's Pokemon. It's not your forearm Chenrezi. Well, because, that's not the design of the mold. So he says, masters who don't have qualities are not able to give rise to qualities in disciples. So masters cannot get off the hook by saying, well, I'm just here to serve as a device for you to transform yourself. Which is true. Yeah? But then Khyaba also reminds everyone involved. A master who doesn't have qualities cannot give rise to qualities in the students. If the students, now, doesn't mean the students absolutely have no way of giving rise to qualities either. But if the students do give rise to some qualities despite having a master who don't have qualities, that's the student's own kind of thing. Nothing really to do with the master. Then even more dangerous is the wanting to make a clay statue of generosity ending up with a clay statue of a Pokemon. So that is where they say, you may, if you follow a master that is not genuine, then you will pick up their faults. And two most basic qualities, Gampopa talks about this in the Jewel Ornament of Liberation and other places, most famously, Jewel Ornament of Liberation. He says, when you come right down to it, you need your guide to have two qualities. One, they have bodhicitta. Two, they know more than you. The first quality is an heart quality, which says that they have your best interests at heart. And how do you know they have your best interests at heart? Do they or do they not have bodhicitta? Are they really sold on this notion of bodhicitta? Are they working on giving rise to bodhicitta where it has not arisen? Where it has arisen, may it not decline, but ever increase higher and higher, which is our favorite bodhicitta dedication that we do. Can you see this going on in this person, in these persons that you are relating to as guru, using as device for your own transformation? Can you see that this is going on? Maybe you feel like their bodhicitta is not higher and higher, but at the very least, do they show that they believe that bodhicitta is excellent and precious, right? Which is the first line of that prayer. Excellent and precious bodhicitta. Do you think, this person that you are relating to as a Dharma teacher, do they think bodhicitta is excellent and precious? And not just from their mouth saying bodhicitta is excellent and precious. Can you see in their lives, in their example that they are showing, that bodhicitta is excellent and precious? Yes, I can see that. Then next you can ask, where it has not arisen, may it arise. Are they working on that? So if you, in the spirit of examining a teacher for 12 years, examine in this way. Not, how famous they are, how good looking they are, how much magic powers they have, how successful they are, how many centers they have, how many titles they have. No. You examine in these two ways. One is bodhicitta. In the spirit, in the context of Buddha saying, you need to examine them. But don't find faults in other areas. Then you are wasting your time. Oh, they drive the wrong car. Oh, they, blah, 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 all sorts of things. Yeah? Leave all of that alone. Do they really embody this line? Excellent and precious bodhicitta. Or are they living in such a way that it seems like they think, something else is more excellent, something else is more precious. They think that their family is more precious. Well, then bodhicitta is not most excellent and precious. They think their family is more precious. They think the Dharma center is more excellent. So even that means bodhicitta is not the most excellent and precious. So this first line in this prayer is very profound. It may seem like just simple words to praise bodhicitta. Oh, excellent. Changju Semcho Rinpoche. Changju Semcho. Excellent. Higher. Rinpoche. Precious. So then you can also ask, am I relating to bodhicitta in this way? Have I started relating to bodhicitta in this way? Changju Semcho Rinpoche. Make Pandam Ke Gyurche. Where it has not arisen, may it arise. Is this person that I am relating to as teacher, considering as a teacher, wanting to relate to as a teacher, are they doing this? And where it has arisen, may it not decline, but ever increase higher and higher. So over 12 years, am I seeing it going in that direction? So that's one way to examine. The second one is they need to know more than you in the area of Dharma. And that's a practical reason, you could say. Because if they don't, then, I mean, right? How are you going to really learn much effectively from such persons? So at least these two qualities, and from these two, there are more elaborations. And so in Jolanam elaboration, there's longer lists, like teachers with 8 qualities, teachers with, so number of, these are all, it's not in a way, they are not beyond these 2 basic ones. They are like more specific reference points, more specific signs that you can look for to know if this teacher have these 2 basic things. So that's like the minimal kind of we need to consider when we relate to someone as Dharma teacher. Then from there, Gilbert Rinpoche says, how realize your guru is interdependent with how developed you are. And this is again another crucial kind of vital point to consider. Now, obviously, right, there is the realization of that person, regardless of whether you are there or not. Kind of like the example of, if the tree falls in the forest and no one is there, does it make a sound? Well, first of all, the tree is there. So regardless of, let's not get too deep into this, regardless of whether you're standing there or not, well, the tree is there. So on that level, there is this person whom you are considering or thinking of considering as teacher, and they have whatever qualities that they have, whether you are there looking at their qualities or not. So that's the 12 years examining. Yes, you already have, you have determined, yes, there is this tree in this forest, right? To the 12 years, the spirit, the point about examining 12 years. But even after examining the 12 years, or especially, right, the proverbial examining of 12 years, so whether it's 12 years or not, I don't know if you need to take it so literally, but basically, don't just jump in. Although there are also many examples of, in the past, these great masters who just seemingly just jump into it, what to say, right? So if you actually look at the bigger picture, there's always all sorts of possible ways of doing it, and no one way, But there are general principles, and that's what I'm trying to share with you. There are general principles that are good practices that you should apply. So then, okay, the proverbial 12-year examination, okay, you have a tree. Then after that, Kyopa Rinpoche says, now as to whether you're able to see this tree as a perfectly awakened Buddha, as Bodhi tree or not, it's not solely just dependent on the tree. Just as much it depends on you. So in that sense, right, the final result, right, which our texts all say, the final seva is the Sanskrit term seva, means service. Guru seva. In Hinduism, actually, they use this a lot in a more general way. You have to serve, you have to offer services to the Guru. Guru seva. So, in the Mahamudra tradition, they especially quote one quote from the Hevaja Tantra, when it says, the ultimate Guru seva. It says, you need to perform the ultimate Guru seva, Guru service. So in the commentaries of the Mahamudra masters, they say, yes, there are all sorts of instructions given to how to provide seva, how to provide service, how to serve our spiritual guides. And this comes from, traditional Indian society, the way that even in the secular context, how people learn what they learn. So if you are going to be an educated person, and in that context is being educated in the sacred texts of India, which is the Vedas, then you are sent. First of all, you have to be Brahmin, born into that caste. And then maybe you learn some basic things from your father, but then eventually your father would send you to a teacher who is an expert in the Veda, and you go live with that teacher. And it involves, of course, like you say, you pay tuition fees. And then you live at the teacher's household. Teacher, Brahmin teachers, they have a family, they have wife, kids, everything. But you join their household. So you pay your monthly payment because room and board, right? You're living with the teacher and you serve the teacher, then you learn. Not just learning the books during the formal learning, but learning how to serve an elder. So all of this is part of the Guru Seva that you will come across when they talk about. So there's one text called the 50, right? Verses on serving the Guru. The 50 stanzas of serving the Guru. Don't read that because it's really scary. And if you read that, don't panic, okay? Very strong words are used. Like even things, I think something like, even if you lose your temper and look at your guru with angry eyes, your eyes will be, gouged out by the demons of hell, la la la, It's really scary, Many times, not many times, several times, some of my fellow teachers have said, hey, Dr. Han, you have to teach 50 stanzas of Guru service. I'm like, no, I don't want to teach that. It's a little scary, But there are, texts like this, for sure, Now you're very curious, I'm sure. The first thing you'll do when we finish, you'll start Googling. Yes, there are online, versions. And But those are Buddha's teachings, I know, really, but it's not easy. It needs to be carefully interpreted and understood, you know. There are different methods used. That text is clearly used, you know, in a way that have, you know, the equivalent of being traumatized at Sunday school by the nuns, holding up a crucifix of Jesus, you know, that is bleeding, and say, "He died for you, and you know, ungrateful, sinful people. Can you see the blood?" It's sort of that style, you know. There are texts like that. So, but as I say, you know, Buddha's teachings is so broad, 84,000. At different points, at different points of our development, certain teachings we need to take to heart, we need to work with. But anyway, there are other gentler ways for us to kind of start to understand and to develop this Guru devotion. So anyway, right, here, coming back here, it says that, so as you diligently work on removing the kleshas from your own heart, the afflictive emotions, then increasingly you will perceive the Guru as also free from those kleshas. And so it really presents an image of how you and your Guru, like together. This is not even talking so much about like objectively the Guru is still growing, but rather is talking about your perception. So there are two issues, right? Does that person really have those qualities that they have developed? That's the context of examined for 12 years. Here, the notion of the Guru becomes greater as you become greater is talking about some other part of this process. And here is talking about your own perception. Here is talking about even if Buddha Shakyamuni is standing right in front of you, if you have not developed yourself, all you see is, right, as I mentioned before, some guy with a bunch of disciples looking for free lunch. If you're feeling generous that day, you're like, "Oh, yes, thank you for coming." If you don't have enough that day, you're like, "Oh, these lazy people, why are they always coming here to try to get food? Why don't they go get a job?" So anyway, in the Hevaja Tantra, there's a statement that says, you know, the only way you can see this Buddha nature is through a combination of your merit and your service to the Guru, Guru Seva. And the ultimate Guru Seva. So in the commentaries it says, the ultimate Guru Seva is actually not, although you begin there by doing Guru Seva in the more conventional sense, attending the Guru, serving the Guru, providing for the Guru. The Guru should, footnote, the Guru should not live like a successful businessman. Unfortunately, I think many of us, anyway, just be discerning, okay? This is the context of the 12 years examining. So don't forget to do that piece. Right? So there are two pieces, This other piece is, now you have met Buddha Shakyamuni. Now you have met Mahamudra. And if you, like literally right now, you have not yet met Buddha Shakyamuni, you have not yet met Mahamudra, right? Or even suspect, maybe this is Mahamudra, maybe this is Shakyamuni, maybe this is Marpa. If you've not met anyone like that, please don't simply go jump into someone and say, oh yes, you must be. My own experience, say, please don't do that. Instead, you can think of Mahamudra. You can think of Milarepa. You can think of Jigten Samgen. You can think of Buddha Shakyamuni. You can think of Guru Rinpoche. And keep serving Guru Rinpoche. Keep serving. And what that means is, keep serving Guru Rinpoche, keep serving Buddha Shakyamuni, keep serving Marpa, keep serving Milarepa, whoever, right? That you have confidence. Yes, that is the real thing. Keep serving that person, but try to see that person in your Dharma teachers. In other words, this is a skillful way of working with that Milarepa appears in this Dharma teacher sometimes. And that's enough, little moments, where you can see, oh yes, it's like Milarepa. Okay, now serve Milarepa. And not so and so, but serve Milarepa. Serve Jigten Samgen. Serve Buddha Shakyamuni. In that way. Serve Naropa. Then over time, that which is will become so. That which is will become so. Cannot be rushed. Unless you have the guts to do it the instantaneous way. And sometimes at a certain point from the engaging in stages, you can go into engaging in an instantaneous way. It's also not fixed that you're only one type. Then you can engage in an instantaneous way. Some heat, some pressure should be on those who function as teachers. It's good for them, good for us too. So part of some teachers' reluctance, to accept anyone as student is not wanting to be in the heat. If you can't take the heat, don't be in the kitchen. But some want to be in the kitchen, but cannot take the heat. I'm definitely one of those, going to the kitchen, but cannot stand the heat. Then don't want. You take care of yourself. Go find your guru, Just being honest. But, when it comes to Mahamudra, there's no other way to put it, and also no way to explain it away, no way to turn it into something else. When it comes to final kind of realization of Mahamudra, like I'm not even talking about Buddhahood, that's one realization of Mahamudra. I'm talking about the initial seeing nature of mind. That, again and again, the whole tradition always says, the only way to see that is through devotion, not through intelligence, not through learning not through being learned. Now, maybe you have to come from there first, but it's only when you drop your learning, you drop your knowledge, you drop all your kind of ideas, then you will see. You will see this, your true face, and then from there, habituate that, which is the path, to habituate what you see. So through this Mahamudra manual, we are being introduced, bit by bit. Of course, most of us have also read many more explicit instructions on nature of mind. Yes, but if you treat this manual as like, Choki Gyalpo, the author, then via Choki Gyalpo, Kyopa Jigten Sumgen, if you treat this manual as basically Kyopa Jigten Sumgen guiding us, Dhammaraja Choki Gyalpo, the author of this manual, guiding us, leading us, then the experience of this daily practice, the quality can change, No need to look at it as me, and maybe even for some of you, not helpful to look at it as me, because you can still see a lot of faults. Then you damage the sacred words, the ka, or the kagyu, ka, the words, the authoritative words. They are authoritative not from the side of force, but they are authoritative because they are from those who have seen directly how things are. And therefore they are authoritative, and therefore they are ka. Buddha's words are called ka in Tibetan. And so are the words of the realized masters. They are also called ka. And that's the word in the name Ka-gyu. Gyu is lineage. The lineage of those who follow the Ka. In that sense, all authentic Dharma practitioners follow the Ka of the Buddha. In that sense, they're all Kagyus, Kagyupas, not in the sectarian sense. We don't need that sectarian stuff, right? But we need to understand that we have to follow Buddha's Ka. So treat this, as Choki Gyalpo, one of the lineage masters, and Choki Gyalpo is channeling, you could say, the words of Kyopa Jigten Sumgen, who is channeling the words of Mahamudra, and all the way back to Buddha Shakyamuni. Treat these words, treat this practice as them instructing us, guiding us. Then there can be no mischief, then there can be no problems. Okay. So we are not meeting the next 3 mornings, but maybe in the next 3 mornings you can do the practice, either the focusing on mandala more, or focusing on the Vajrasattva more, or focusing on the bodhicitta section, or focusing on the Chakkasamvara section. In fact, the retreat in Guatemala is a Chakkasamvara focus on a different sadhana, not from this text, a fully kind of Chakkasamvara sadhana. So some of you are attending that, so I'll see you there. Yeah. Now dedication. Page 78. By the virtues collected in the 3 times by me in the entirety of samsara and nirvana, and by the innate root of virtues, may I and all sentient beings quickly attain the unsurpassed, perfect, complete, precious Bodhi. Changchu Sem Cho Rinpoche Ma Kye Ba Nam Kye Gyur Che Kye Ba Nyam Ba Me Ba Yang Gong Ne Gong Du Bil War Shou. Okay. Ta-ta, everyone.